I am Dennis Vishakovsky, and the topic of today is an affair with fear. I often share my life and experiences that I've had in my past that have the ability to resonate with you, my viewers. An affair with fear, what are the symptoms? What does it look like? Well, an affair with fear also looks like an addiction. The attributes and the symptoms are similar, and they cross over between what are the symptoms of an affair and what are the symptoms of an addiction. For example, an addiction, an affair, they both have the ability to occupy our mind, often, if not more than anything else. I remember a time prior to June of 2013, 2012, where I had the opportunity to, with a friend, someone that I trusted, to share all my secrets. And before that moment, that in time, I carried with me shame, guilt, and remorse every day. Every decision that I made was affected, or I hesitated because of the shame, fear, guilt, or remorse, until I let it go. I was astonished at this experience and pivotal moment in my life where I stood in my living room and said, from this day forward, I will be fearless to be me. Truth would have all the power, and fear would no longer have power over me. It took me a year of daily, moment by moment living and being aware of how fear had affected my past days, weeks, months, years. I didn't reach out to people. I didn't talk. And most importantly, I was so unhappy. Now, these are in the days of being a monk. And you think, if you're a monk, you should be happy. If you're a monk, you should have peace. Well, I had peace, but I didn't have happiness and I didn't have joy. And I remember going to church, and I went to church every day, and remembering how unhappy I was and what is wrong with me. Why was I so unhappy? Because fear captured my heart and my mind. If there was anything, if there was ever such thing as a sin, whatever sin means, in my past, sin was anything that prevents us from experiencing God or prevents us from loving. Well, fear prevented me particularly from receiving love. Love is not complete unless we are giving and receiving. If we give love and don't receive it, it's a mere manipulation of whatever circumstances. So anything that prevents us from giving and receiving is deadly, because giving and receiving is a universal principle that governs everything, whether it be emotional state, spiritual state, physical, business, no matter what. So fear. Here I am going to church, here I am praying to God, and knowing that God loves me without judgment. And I never felt judged by God, but my fear caused me to judge myself. My fear prevented me or enabled me, or prevented me. I hesitated when I had to respond to something that was wrong. I hesitated, and sometimes a simple hesitation could be the lack of saying the truth that someone needs to hear. It could cause us to not stand up for ourselves or others because of fear. Just think of Hitler, World War II, the fear that was instilled in Nazi Germany, where good people did bad things because of fear. Now think of an affair with fear. If you love someone, if you're in a relationship with someone, doesn't matter if it's husband, wife, children, doesn't matter, another person. If you're in a relationship with someone, and we all should be, it's healthy, it's balanced. If we're having an affair with fear, then we're not allowing our true person to be present to other people. We're not revealing who we really are so that others can give and receive what we need and what they need. Fear clouds our judgment, just like an addiction, just like a fear. Fear, if it's occupying our mind when we wake up, when we go to sleep, When we wake up in the middle of the night, we could be having an affair with fear, or it could be an addiction. We could be so addicted to that experience of fear all the time, motivating us to do whatever it is that we do. And fear sometimes can even motivate us to do good things or things that are progress, but it's preventing us from loving and doing the exact same thing that has even more profound consequences. I know in my past, there are times that fear, even though I had it every day, it would get so bad that it would paralyze me. Now remember, fear will prevent us from loving ourselves and others. Fear has the ability to prevent us from being humble, being honest with self, others, and a higher power, which I choose to call God. Fear can cause us to do foolish things. Fear can cause us to waste money. Fear can cause us to be in relationships with people we should not. Or the ones that we are in relationship, we may not be loving them to the degree that they deserve. We may not be able to give a full love to those people that we love dearly because of fear. And that's where I assimilate this affair with fear as being exactly that, an affair, a relationship that's consuming and preventing us from being who we are all the time. Anything that prevents us from being who we are all the time, anything that prevents us from being humble, being honest with self, others, and a higher power, anything that prevents us from speaking truth is a detriment, could be an addiction, could be an affair, but whatever it is, it interferes with our ability to interact with the universe, to interact with God, to be the best version of ourselves, to be the best husband, wife, brother, sister, uncle, whatever the relationship is. When we wake up from the affair or from the addiction, the challenge there lies with our ability to be compassionate and patient with ourselves, because fear strips us of all those virtues. Fear strips us of being patient with ourselves and others. Fear strips us of the ability to be thoughtful and kind. Why? Because we are possessed or obsessed with something that does not enable us to see the true nature of the needs of others around us. How can fear interfere? It could be a relationship. Now think of business. Perhaps you have a fear where you don't say what you need to say. That is a good business decision that will enable someone or a company to grow, to change, to morph into something more beautiful, more powerful, more successful. Fear, take that example of what fear can do and apply it to any part of your life. And it has the ability to stop progress. It has the ability to prevent us from growing emotionally, spiritually, and physically. I often think of being a monk for 34 years. I look at things perhaps a little bit differently than the average person. I look at life oftentimes as if I'm in a spaceship over the earth. Now, just think of when we're in the middle of the weeds of our life, the struggles and the fear and the whatever it is that's condemning us to not having joy and peace and relaxation. It debilitates us and it clouds our vision. And so oftentimes I think of when I'm in a plane and I'm coming out of the weeds and going higher and higher, it gives me that 40 or 50,000 foot view, and my issues become insignificant. Actually, it's like leaving them behind temporarily, and I can see more clearly. Well, just think of you as an astronaut, and you're up in the atmosphere, or you're floating, and you're looking down, seeing this little planet, and there's nothing, there's a void up there. And then all you're left with is yourself. All you're left with is what's really important in life. And the only thing that's really important in life, it's not fear, not going to do anything with you there. It's love. That's the only thing that's important when you're floating in space. You have no one and nothing to hold on to. You have nothing to dissuade us from being in the present moment. We have nothing to distract us because we are stuck in the present moment, way, way, way up there. And then we can see more clearly because fear is not part of us. We're now in the moment. And see, fear will rape us, it will pillage us of being in the present moment where the universe, where God, whatever you want to call that extraordinary being that does everything and then creates miracles. If we're not in the present moment, we cannot experience miracles. We can beg God for whatever we want. We can beg the universe to give us what we want, but if we can't be in the moment where everything takes place, we have nothing. We can't have love. We can't even have friendship. But because in order to have friendship, we need to be in the moment to be present to them and for them to be present to us. Can you imagine having a conversation with someone and they're looking away, or you can see there's something, I got sun shining on me. You can see something going in their mind, flipping through, or they're filtering. It's sad. It's tough. We do have a world, a society that is stricken by fear. We even have a president at this time, Donald Trump, who instills fear in people to get them to do what he wants. Fear has no value. It's destructive. What can we do with fear and how can we overcome it? First, we need to be in the present moment and be aware of where we are, focusing even on our breathing. It could be focusing on anything other than the fear. We have to put it aside. It could be focusing on our body or just being present to other people. But whatever it is, we need to regroup. And if you have an affair with fear, if it's an addiction for you, it's not going to go away in a moment, a day, or a month. It takes daily work and perseverance and humility, that ability to be honest with yourself, others, and the higher power. It takes, it takes a lot. But you'll notice the difference when you stop, because then you can start to have compassion for yourself. You can start loving yourself. You can start loving other people. You will find that you can become more patient. You're less irritable. The gift of love compared to the tragedy of fear. Next week, I'm going to talk more about how we can walk through the process of overcoming fears and what we need to do. So join me next week, 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, same time, same channel, Dennis the Monk. You can always see the same mustache and not an overdeveloped look because of the sun. And I'll be waiting for you to watch and be with me. And while we're waiting until next week, I'm going to be praying for you that you can step aside, understand what fear is doing and how destructive it is for you and for your relationships and for the world around you, because it certainly prevents us from having hope. And if we don't have hope, we fall into despair. And despair is a hell on earth. Have a wonderful week. Merry Christmas. And know that there is hope and there is goodness out there. And when we align ourselves with love and hope, miracles happen that can transform the ugliest, most ugly situations that we are in to something that's glorious and abundant and profound. Sorry about the light. Have a great week. Ah.